Section 1.2 is properties of real numbers. R stands for the real number. N stands for natural numbers. Natural numbers start with 1, 2, 3, 4, and so on and so forth in the positive direction. W stands for whole numbers. Whole numbers start with the number 0 and go in the positive directions. Positive direction. 0, 1, 2, 3, so on and so forth. I stands for the integers. Integers are positive and negative whole numbers. So, and also integers, a letter for integers that the book uses is the letter Z. Q is rational numbers. Rational number is any number that can be expressed as a fraction. A rational number, for example, would be 0.125. You can just put that as 1/25 over 1,000 because it's in the thousandth place. Negative 7/8 is a fraction. Square root of 81, that is 9. And you can put 9 into any whole number into fraction by putting it over 1. So these are all examples of rational numbers. An irrational number, which is letter I, is a number that cannot be expressed as a fraction. Does not terminate, does not repeat. For example, square root of 3. Example 1, classify the sets to which each number belongs. Negative 23 is an integer, which is letter Z. It is also a rational number, which is Q, and real number is R. Square root of 50 is an irrational number, I, real number R. Negative 4/9 is a rational number, which is letter Q, and it's a real number, which is R. Square root of negative 49, that simplifies down to negative 7. So negative 7 are the sets are integers, which is letter Z, rational number Q, and real number R. Here are some properties. We have the commutative property of addition and multiplication, associative, identity, inverse, closure, and the distributive property. The absolute most important property is the distributive property. You will use that a lot in algebra. Example 2, name the properties. This is an associative property because we regrouped of multiplication. This, example B, is a distributive property. Example 3, find the additive inverse and the multiplicative inverse. Additive inverse is just the opposite. So the additive inverse of negative 5/8 is positive 5/8. The multiplicative inverse is flipping it around to negative 8/5. The additive inverse of 1.25 is negative 1.25. Now, I put, to find the multiplicative inverse, the book just flipped it and put it 1 over 1.25. But then they also turned it into a fraction, which is 1 and 25 over 100. Turn it into reduce it, turn it into an improper fraction, and then take the multiplicative inverse of that. So you might see it that way, and you might see it 1 over 1.25. The multiplicative inverse of 2.5 is negative 2.5. The multiplicative inverse, the additive inverse is negative 2.5. The multiplicative inverse, I first put it into an improper fraction, which is 5 over 2, and the multiplicative inverse of 5 over 2 is 2 over 5. Okay, here's a problem. The prices of the components of a computer package offered by Computer Depot are shown in the table. If 6% sales tax is added to the purchase, how much sales tax is charged for this computer package? First, what I would do is add up all your purchases and then multiply it by 6%. To multiply a percent, you have to change a percent to a decimal, which is moving it 2 places to the left and dropping the percent sign. So that's how I would set that up. By adding everything in the parentheses and then multiplying by 0.06, your tax is $54.45. Example 5. Simplify expressions. First thing we have to do is do the distributive property and then combine like terms. It is best to always combine like terms alphabetically if you have more than one variable. Okay, we're going to do the distributive property once again. Now be very careful in the second parentheses. That's a -2 times everything in that parentheses. So you have to distribute not 2, but -2. Be very careful. This is where people make their mistake. It's -2 times 3x is a -6x, and -2 times a positive y is a -2y. Combine your like terms, and again I'm going to combine them alphabetically. -6y and a -2y is a -8y. Here's a problem number 41. Your assignment is page 14, odd numbers 19 through 33, and odd numbers 37 through 41.